All right, I think we are going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. So I just want to start out with introducing our webinar topic. Today we are going to be going over what your scholarships or applicants wish that you knew as an organization and as admin that are running these scholarship programs. To give you a little overview of our webinar today, first, we're going to start out with just some introductions. I have me and Hallie here from our team. Give you a little bit of insight into Reviewer and what we do here. Then we're going to share some insights on what we have been seeing from our clients and just what we have been seeing applicants struggle with and things that you may not see as an admin or realize. And then we are going to offer some solutions for those. And then we will kind of end it with a little open Q&A. We'll open up the floor for you guys to ask some questions. And as we move along, we do have an open chat. So as we're going on today, you can ask some questions. We will try to answer them as we go, or we might go through them at the end, but they will get answered as we go along. So that being said, my name is Callie. I am do all of our marketing efforts here at Reviewer. So that is my role here. So I'm kind of here to offer you guys from a marketing standpoint of these programs and offer some insights there. And then I have Hallie here from my team, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, so I'm Hallie. I am on the customer success team here at Reviewer. So I work one-on-one with our clients. I get them onboarded into Reviewer, and then I work with them throughout their whole scholarship process from start to finish. Just making sure that everything is set up correctly, making sure the applicant experience is as it should be, and just kind of making sure that they have everything they need along the road.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get right on into it. So the challenge we're really trying to address here today is the fact that as admin or the people running these scholarships, you make up about 1/3 of the scholarship people that are involved. So one challenge we've really seen here at Reviewer is admins are very focused on operations. You're focused on streamlining your operation. You're in the weeds. You're making sure that everything is running, focusing on things like your scorecards and what they look like and what you're judging on and and the questions asked in your application. And what we find is that sometimes we seem to forget a little bit about the applicants and kind of where they're at and all of that, and the things they experience, and then also your reviewers or your volunteers or people that are giving their time to help go over these applications and give you scores. So yeah, we have seen lots of effects on applicants. I know Hallie works one-on-one with a lot of our clients, so she gets to hear a lot of what the applicants say, as long as the admins and reviewers. So moving on, this is kind of what we have been seeing in the scholarship experience. So this is from the applicant perspective. This is as your applicants are going through this process. We've seen a lot of things like job forms, emailing, PDFs, big manual processes in a lot of scholarship programs. And some of the issues we've been seeing with that are just like overall, it's a very hard process for them. It can be lengthy, things can get lost, and ultimately, we want to look out for the best interest of your applicants as they're going through this process. So we want to offer some possible solutions to some of these manual processes that are currently being used.
Yeah, Yeah, so kind of to touch back on a couple slides ago that Callie was on, while the operational side of running your scholarship, things like that, is super important, getting everything set up. A lot of time admin, whoever's running your event, forget that the whole reason you're running these scholarships, the whole reason you're running these events is for the applicants. So at the end of the day, if your applicants didn't have a good experience, it was not an easy process for them, that's kind of going to reflect your organization. So here at Reviewer, we kind of like to look at some of the modern solutions, some ways to combat those issues, because again, at the end of the day, we're trying to please the applicants. So some of the solutions that we kind of have created here at Reviewer are profile-based applications. So this is from start to finish, your applicants are going to have a profile within Reviewer. So that means that they can start an application at any time, save it, come back, finish whenever they need to. Throughout the whole process. So anytime they are going back in, you're looking at anything, everything is right where it needs to be. Some eligibility pre-screening. So again, you don't want these random people, you don't want your time wasted, you don't want the applicant's time wasted. So if they're not eligible for a scholarship, we can set that up in the form, have them answer a few questions. If they're not eligible, they're not going to move on. A really good time saver for both you and the applicant. Kind of similar to that is the smart opportunity matching. So even though they might not be eligible for all scholarships, we can show what scholarships they are eligible for and then let them select based on that, what they are eligible for, what they want to continue, and what they want to actually apply for. Automated reference collection. So say that we're going to invite a couple letter recommendations into your scholarship event. A really nice thing about that is, again, you don't need to worry about having 5 different references being sent into your inbox, sent into your office. Everything is going to be all in one place. So your applicant's 5 letters of recommendation is going to be all in their one applicant profile. This is going to be super helpful both as an admin and as an applicant, having everything just in one place. It's going to take a lot of stress off of everyone's shoulders. With that being said, everything is going to be it's ADA compliant. It's going to be super secure. You don't need to worry about having things being in random places, security breaches, anything like that. And then just to kind of recap all of that, through the entire process from start to finish, while you're submitting, getting outside documents, the whole part of your process, we can have email updates, confirmation pages to let your applicants know that everything has been submitted, their side of things is done. A lot of just kind of checks and balances to help ensure your applicant is complete with what they need, you have everything that you need, and you're just kind of set to go.
All right, I can let you take over the screen share.
Yes, so with that, I'm going to share my screen really quick, and we're going to go through just a couple scenarios. So first we're going to go through the applicant's experience. So we're going to look at that really quickly with this. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to give you a quick little brief of the applicant's experience. So they're going to create an account and they're going to jump straight into your scholarship application. So this kind of first page is going to be a lot of the applicant information, and this is going to be saved. This is going to be held in their account. So they have their account through Reviewer. This information is going to be saved for future applications, different events, things like that. This right here is going to be that eligibility page. So as they go through and they answer these questions, they can mark whether yes or no, and then from there, that's going to determine their eligibility. This next page is going to show what they are eligible for. So we auto-populate based on your answers to these previous questions. These are the 3 scholarships that you are eligible for. Now let's select which ones you want to actually apply for. Select it, and then you can move on through your scholarship. And then from there, we're going to just give them the questions that apply to that scholarship. So again, this is going to be best user experience for the applicant and also for you. You don't need to go through 10 extra pages that don't apply to their specific scholarship, and you don't want to waste their time doing that either. So with that visibility and just kind of with that functioning, you are going to save a lot of time for both you and the applicant. Another thing that you might see on this page is a save and log out button. So anytime they start an application, they save and log out. All of their progress is going to be saved up until then. As you move through pages, your information is gonna be saved also, but the save and log out ensures that even if you only fill out half of a page, that half of the page is gonna be saved. So just another really secure way to make sure all information is saved, you don't lose anything. It's all in one place. And then here's going to be just some more little follow-up questions, ensuring where your funds are going. Again, this is all super customizable depending on what kind of event you're running. And then upload. So another really awesome thing about Reviewer is everything can be done in one spot. So we don't need to fill out these scholarship questions in one place and then email you a video later. It can all be uploaded right here. And then this kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of get to know your applicants, especially from year to year. It's important that you're keeping tabs, you're understanding the effect that these scholarships are having on people, because again, it's all about the applicant, their experience, and then how much these scholarships are really affecting them. So having this kind of applicant portfolio built based on these applications that they filled out and information they've inserted is going to really help you down the road. So kind of on this page is going to show you kind of how everything is in one spot. So we're in the supplemental forms tab. So say they invite those references, they're all going to be right here, easy for you. Now that we're kind of done with the little, that's going to be the experience that your submitters are going to go through. I'm going to show you the submitter portal. So say they were to save and log out, or they submitted and they want to log back in and see their submission. They want to see any updates that have been made to it. We're going to go to the submitter portal. So as they log in through your microsite, they're going to be taken to their submissions page for your portal. So here, if you allow multiple submissions, say they're applying for more than one scholarship, all of their submissions are going to be listed here. And then you can have just a little submission summary. Everything you need to know is going to be right here. They have the ability to view their submission here using that little I button, and they can also access that from the My Submissions page. Here they can make edits, see questions and comments if that's enabled by you as an admin. They have access to all of their attachments. So if they uploaded any files, any pictures, anything along those lines, they have access to. Personal, that applicant portfolio, and then evaluation supplemental form. So if they've already been evaluated, they can see that again if enabled by admin, and then supplemental forms, that's going to be their invite to their references, what's been attached there, what's been filled out. Everything is all in one centralized location. And then again, if enabled, if you allow for more than one, you can add another submission and they can be taken back into that page and create another submission for your scholarship application. So something you might kind of be wondering is, yep, it's great. I see the submitter's experience. Now I want to see what I see on my end, which you will want to keep track of as you're kind of going through. Again, all one centralized place. So that's the submitter side of things that you can all access through this admin dashboard. But also here, you can keep track in a little bit more of a broader scale. So here we can see our total entries, how many people have submitted into your event, supplemental forms. So how many of those recommenders that have been invited have came in and submitted a supplemental form. And then with that, we can see the status of each application. So I see here that 21 applications have been accepted and one is new. So that means that someone hasn't finished their application. Supplemental forms, same thing. How many people have started, how many haven't, and then kind of how many are ready. So this is going to be on your admin dashboard. This is a more broad way to kind of see things. But if you're looking more in depth, say you're looking into a submission, something along those lines, you just want to kind of see a list of who all has submitted. If it's something more personal, you can see who all has submitted to your scholarship. Just kind of keep tabs. You can go to this manage submissions page. So here we have all of our search filters if you're looking for something specific, but you also can just kind of see a list, scroll down and kind of see everyone who has submitted into your scholarship. So whether they've started, they've finished, they haven't, they just opened up an application and decided, oh, I don't have time, it's all going to be here. Every single submission, every single person that has came into your submission form somehow is going to be listed here. And then the really nice thing about Reviewer is that everything is, again, in one place. So we see this person has applied for 5 different scholarships. Everything is right here. You can edit it, you can view it, you can see all aspects of their scholarship. And then the same way that they have access to their attachments, their evaluations, their supplemental forms, you also have access to all that. You also have a few more tabs over here, allowing you to give them groups and divisions, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. notes, anything like that. Again, those are all super custom to your event, but it's just really nice that you can get into each submission, edit, view, anything you need to do as you kind of start getting more submissions in and you're maybe talking back and forth with your submitters. It's past the deadline, you need to make an edit for them. You have access to do all that in one place. You don't need to search through that inbox for 5 different submissions, check your spam. Everything is in one place. And then Callie, from there, I will stop sharing and you can take that screen back.
All right, perfect. So that was Hallie shared from our admin perspective and then also our applicants. And then so moving right along, I just wanted to touch a little bit on your evaluators or your judges. So those are the people that are actually reviewing these applications that are coming in. These are typically from what we see normally volunteers or people you have found in your organization that you're getting to come in and help review these scholarships. So why this piece we feel is really important for your applicants is because if your judges or reviewers are not having a good experience, that is going to reflect in the way that they are evaluating these students. And we here at Reviewer believe that each of these students deserve a fair chance and the best shot they can at these scholarships that you guys are giving away. So some of the things that we've been seeing when it comes to the review and selection side is things like Excel spreadsheets. We see admin downloading hundreds of different submissions into spreadsheets out of things like Google Forms. Then you're sending them out to your different reviewers. They're reviewing it in their own different Google Forms or in their own spreadsheets. Maybe they're using Excel and then they're trying to put it back in your form, or they're sending you 5 or 6 different evaluations that they've done in Google Docs or in Word, and then you're trying to piece them together to get final scores. So the issue with that is one that takes up a significant amount of time for you and also for your reviewers. And then the other issue is with that is it's just leaving a lot of room for human error. And what is really important for you guys and also your volunteers is the reality is they are normally volunteers. So they're taking this time out of their day. So you want that process to be as quick and as easy for them as possible so that your applicants do get the best experience. And what we have found here at Reviewer is that your typical hourly rate for those volunteers is around $34 an hour. So say those reviewers are doing around 100 submissions, that's about $690 per evaluator that you're having. So it is their time and it also is valued in money form as well. So I'll move on to some of those solutions that Hallie has.
Yeah, so kind of similar to how it's super important that the applicant has a good experience. It's also super important that your reviewers are having a good experience. Again, I'd say 90% of your scholarship reviewers are going to be volunteers, whether, again, that is in your workplace or you're having people in the community come out and donate their time. You don't want to make it a bad experience for them. You want to have these people come back. You want them to be excited to get to review and kind of be a part of your process. So a few things that we've implemented with the review process, both for the reviewer side and then also for the admin side. We want it to be easy for all aspects. The first thing is the data redaction. So whether you're a small community, big community, names, anything that is private information and also secure files, tax forms, those are all able to be submitted through reviewer. But things, again, like tax forms, social security numbers, anything like that, we need that to be covered up from reviewers, from anyone. We can redact that. So we can make anything non-viewable to reviewers, which just help makes things a super fair experience for the submitters. So there's no bias. And then also just super safe, keeping things secure. Another thing is the assignments. So that also kind of goes in with the non-bias. You want to have random assignments. And then also make sure that it's balanced. You don't want to have one reviewer have to judge 10 submissions and another one just gets to judge 2. That's not going to be an equal experience for any reviewer who is taking the time to do that. So having randomized assignments is something that is super, super helpful for that. Also with that is going to be your volunteer fatigue. If you have on average to get a good fair evaluation of submissions is only at like 25 max, and that might even be pushing it. And so we can set random assignments and set minimums and maximums. So volunteers only have the same range for how many submissions they can judge. And then that just, you can separate that out by whether that's in phases or different judges for different groups, anything like that. Um, just making sure that, again, the reflection of the volunteer's experience is going to impact the applicant's experience. You don't want to have a judge who's on their 50th submission review of the day, and then the person next to you gets someone with a fresh set of eyes and they get a way better score. So that's something that's super important, is just keeping it fair. And then we'll come back to that when we talk about normalized reports in a minute. But before that, kind of talking about also the actual review process. So a lot of times on different forms, you're seeing things like rate this applicant on this section of the form from 1 to 25, which again isn't really a fair rating because my version of 1 to 25 might be different than Callie's version of 1 to 25. And it's something that you just really need to have something be more fair. So we kind of try and stray away from the number side of scoring things and kind of trying to do on a more of an emotional scale. So below average to exceptional and everything in between. That just makes it a lot more of a fair scale as compared to 1 through 25, where we can have totally different opinions on what's best and what's not. Um, Back to the normalization report, excuse me, that I kind of touched on earlier. Um, Even if you get away from the number scoring and you do more of an emotional score, or if you do set more fair numbers for evaluations, there still is going to be the chance that I'm a really tough scorer and Callie is very optimistic and she likes to score high. And again, that's just kind of the luck of the draw that your submitters get, but that's not the best submitter experience. That's not fair if someone gets me, who's a really tough scorer, and Callie, who's a very high scorer. That's just not fair. So that's where we bring in the normalization report, where we take averages. So the average number that I were to score an application, average number she would, and we average everything out so that whoever gets the highest average score based on their submission and other submissions, they're going to be the true winner. You can separate that by groups. You can get more than one. There's a lot of ways to kind of work with that, but that's a really nice report to kind of use to make sure that everything is on track and as fair for your applicants as possible. Because again, this is an applicant-based scholarship. Take it from there, Callie.
All right. Okay, so one last thing that I really wanted to touch on from a marketing standpoint on this webinar today is impact tracking. So I understand from a marketing perspective that when you guys are running these scholarship programs, typically you have somebody to answer to, whether that is your board members or other people in your organization or your stakeholders, but the numbers truly do matter. When this program is all said and done and the awards are given out, there are people that are going to be looking to you, wanting you to prove the impact of this scholarship, the impact it had on the people who received the scholarships, the students, and then also how the program grows from year to year. So that's where some of this tracking becomes really, really important. So at the end of the day, the question we need to ask ourselves is, did this program have the impact that we intended it to? And that is where the data is really important. You have to have the data to back up what you are going to bring to other people in your organizations when this program is all said and done. Things like testimonials, things like surveys from your students are what's really going to matter to other people in your organization at the end of the day.
Yes, and not to backtrack, just before we get a little bit too far into our data, I'm actually going to show you guys the reviewer experience. Just so we don't, there's a couple more things to go on that. I just want to show you guys what the reviewer experience looks like. Kelly, if I could steal your screen share.
No problem.
And then I just want to show you kind of what that looks like, and then also kind of show you the buckets that we were talking about. So again, kind of just going off of, we really want our reviewers to have the easiest, best experience. So I'm just going to show you how easy that is and quickly show you how good that experience is. So as soon as your assignments are made, you're going to send an invite email. They get that email, they create an account. And then all their submissions that they're assigned to that they have to review are going to be right there. They click edit. And then this is a really nice experience to where their submission form that they're scoring is open. And then also so is that evaluation form that they're using to judge. Um, Split screen, everything. You can scroll as you need to. You can find exactly what you're judging. It's a really, really nice reviewer experience because it's not pulling 5 papers from this little file and 8 from over there and then trying to find your score sheet and then turn it all in and make sure everything is saved. And again, no data is lost. They click submit. They are marked as that submission is done. They can go back to that submissions page. And then over here, you can see they're able to see if they've started these submissions, what score they gave them, what time these submissions are submitted. They just have access to see everything about these submissions that they have to review. And that is about it. And then one other thing for the review process that is super helpful for admin is these buckets. So whether you have multiple phases to kind of keep your reviewers' fatigue a little bit lower, or whether you are separating by scholarship type, using that eligibility to separate by what scholarships they're eligible, we can set up auto grouping. And here's the groups page. So with these groups, they can see everyone that is in the groups that are assigned to them through those manage assignments. This is where you're going to manually select. You can either auto assign, you can manually assign them, you can assign all. This is where you can make those reviewer assignments and make it a really streamlined, easy process. Here's a minimum and maximum just to try and show you how you can keep that reviewers fatigue at all time low by making sure they're not reviewing too many submissions, and then also just to kind of even the workflow for all your reviewers. Um, you can just kind of go through all of that, assign the submissions, and you can see who all is submitted. To go back to the impact tracking side of things, showing all those, piggybacking off of what Callie said, the way that we kind of combat the impact tracking here at Reviewer is we have automated check-in surveys. So checking back in with your submitter. So whether that's accepting the scholarship, asking how their experience was, we are able to go back through and get those answers from your applicants to make sure you as an admin are doing things as you should. And then also here at the reviewer team, making sure that everything is set as it should be. Giving the scholars access to support. So we have a support channel where we help admins one-on-one all day, but your applicants also have access to that. So if they're having trouble in the form, anything like that, they always have access to come to us for help. And then also with the impact tracking is reports. We have a lot of reports that you can use during your submission process, after, that can just kind of help you keep a better track, and then have something for you to take to your stakeholders, take to your company, to show the progress and show how much you've impacted these scholars' lives. Because again, at the end of the day, this is the applicant's experience. This is their scholarships that are probably going to have a pretty large impact on their future.
All right. Okay, so to kind of just give you a little overview of what we went over today, the main thing we are seeing here at Reviewer is just manual processes bogging down programs overall. And the general solution to that is streamlining everything and having it in one central hub. That's the key here for your applicants, for you, and for your reviewers. Your job as the admins is to kind of look out for everybody. So that is kind of the piece that we see. We also do understand here at Reviewer that typically as admin, this is a really small piece of your job. Most of you running these scholarship programs, This is just a piece that is added on to your current things that you do day to day. And this typically isn't your main focus. So streamlining things for you is going to make your life a lot easier as you're running through these programs. And with that being said, we understand here that some of you are just here for some information, and then others of you may be looking for a tool or a solution like Reviewer. With that being said, after this webinar, we'll send you a follow-up. You can rewatch the recording if you want to look through some more of what Hallie was showing you kind of at your own pace. And we will also give you a link if you want to set up a time with someone from our team to just chat a little bit on how your program might work in Reviewer, some of our advanced features, how we can kind of tailor things to maybe your needs, maybe some integrations that you may want to get set up, so you guys can kind of tailor it to your own programs.